I just sat up in bed and I said, I can wait no longer. I have to go look for my son. From afar off, I could see the lights flashing, and all I could say was that I just hope it's not what I would thought it would be. By the time I got home, I'd called a friend, and they had air carried him from Atrium to Miami Valley. Well, we knew that wouldn't be good. But my next door neighbor, who's a very close friend, Tom, and I'd called him even though it was 2 o'clock in the morning and 2:30, he got up and was dressed. He took us down there. He took us as a family. One minute you're talking to your son, he's agitated, he had a little blood out of his ear, but not much. It continued to bleed, and just a little dribble out of his nose, but nothing broken. We found out later he had a skull fracture, but
it was just cracked, and that was.
It was just he was just thrashing around like this, and you thought, well, my son's okay. You know, he's alive, he's talking quasi, he's just disoriented. And from that moment forward, I think that we went upstairs, and it went downhill fast.
So when you have a patient that's laying there and they're not all banged up, they don't have their abdomen cut open, they don't have, metal frames stuck on broken extremities, and they're not all puffed up and swollen, and it's like, it looks like their kid, but it's not.
Your son. Your only son. And I look up at my wife, and what a tremendous team. Nothing like the movies. They had just talked us, like Deanna said, they just talked us into going down to get something to put on our stomachs. And it was toward the evening. And soon as we rushed back up, and Lori, one of the nurses there, Lori, we found out later, just an angel. All of them were angels. She had started CPR on him, and the doctors then, of course, they called in this barrage of people, this huge number of people, and it was like a machine, a well-oiled machine. And Lori told us, "Dad, go for his feet," because it was the only thing you get to. So I immediately kneeled down and dropped to my knees, and I just hugged my son's feet, because it was very violent, it appeared to me. It was thrashing about, and the doctors were doing their jobs, and then you had Dr. Eke, just a wonderful doctor, just talking to Kelly, talking to the other doctors in the room. And my wife, I remember looking up, and my wife was at his feet, and I couldn't fix it. I just couldn't fix it. I couldn't make her hurt go away, and I couldn't make him come back to me. All of a sudden, complete silence in the room, complete. And then the nurses would move in, and Donna, who was bagging him with pushing air in, and just a wonderful respiratory therapist, was right there with him the whole time. Backed away, and they felt for pulses here, and I believe in the groin area and on his ankle. And over they would say no pulse and begin compressions again. And it was just surreal.
They got a pulse though.
And then about 20 to 22 minutes later, it was like all of a sudden, I have a pulse. And I could have been poured into a cup.
After he'd coded, I just knew I'd have to handle whatever came after that. I was glad he was alive.
There have been times when people have said it, it's like, where is the old Jared? But at the same time, they've said other things as well about me still being who I am.
He came back to us, and he came back in a miraculous type way.
The only issues physically regarding, how left side of the brain controls the right side of me is about this area of my face, as well as the tips of my right fingers. After I think about a month after being out of the hospital, I started feeling numbness. So they started getting tingly, and I don't feel as much as I used to be able to, just in these areas.
This team, they're just angels. I don't know how you would say any different.
They were a blessing from God. They were. God used them in saving my life. So, and I don't know what else I can say other than thank you.